what's going on, guys? Just getting us all posted up here. Hey, good morning. You can hear me, right? Everything, yes, all good. Let's see. That's looking all fine. Hey. I am ready to build this guy. Let's see who's in here. Let's see. Us Loyal Few was asking where this is from. It's just from the Maschinen Krieger property, so it's not from any anime or manga or anything. It's just kind of within that universe, but there's not any other like media outside of the kits. Let me just make a little adjustment here. If I can. Yeah. Maybe like that. Alright, well, we'll see how that's going. Okay, so who else is in here? Anaframe, Nerf, Escape. Let's see, Mercenary, what's going on? Lewis, Nani, and Corey, what's going on? Blaze, Riser, Nolan. Hey guys, good morning. And okay, yeah, I think I got everybody. Deshevster, I see you there as well too. What's up, playa? Let's get down to business here. Alright. So, yeah, I'm planning on streaming just the entire process of this build as much as I can, including the painting. But it's going to be like kind of at different times during this week, because I think tomorrow morning is when we're going to have the next round of going through some of the weathered entries. So that'll be starting at 10:30 for me, so I may try to do like a live stream before that for like an hour or so, or I may just push it into later. But the problem is if I do it later after that, then like for you guys in the US it becomes like quite late, so I don't want to make it too late for y'all. But so we'll see. So I'll be streaming this every day this week, going through the process, but it just might be kind of at different times. Friday morning as well is when we're going to do another round of review of some of the clean builds. So today we're basically just focusing on just getting the kit just built up, and that will be kind of all we're really able to do today. Oh, that's that. 6 and 7. 23 and 24. I don't know. The thing is with these, I don't know what kind of mods are going to be required, or what else we may have to do. But so for now, we just start building, and we'll see. We'll see what ends up needing to happen. I'm not really planning on doing anything really with this as far as like much modifications or anything, but let's see what comes up. You can see though in the instructions here right away, the very first step is when we're gonna need some of our rods and stuff. So let's see, Corey asked, are you gonna review the new MG Virtue? Yes, of course. When that comes out, it's still a long ways away. And I think it's coming out in November, right? Which is right when we're gonna be moving to the US, so I probably won't be able to review it right away. My review will probably be coming a little bit later in like January or something. It'll be later as soon as I can, but I don't think I'll be able to review it like right at that time, just because of it's right around the time when we're gonna be moving and everything. I probably won't have this space set up because like stuff will be packed and moved, and yeah, it'll be kind of a mess at that time. If we're still here when it comes out in like the beginning of November, but I think probably it's more likely to come out towards the end of November, which is when like we'd be in the US then, and I wouldn't have like anything set up or anything yet. So, you see that Industria Mechanica is going out of business. I did not see that. US where? We're gonna be moving to Florida. But you got a lot of stuff to move just in that room. Yes, I do. Yes, I definitely do. So, yeah, moving is gonna be quite the task. I don't know. I wanna, cause it's such a, like, to get rid of stuff means I have to sell stuff. That just like takes a lot of time to try to sell stuff, and then like shipping rates these days is crazy. So like, it'd be a lot better if I could sell a lot of stuff like locally here in Korea. But that'll also be harder to do because like I can't do that by myself. I'm just like, I don't have the level of, my Korean's not that good to be able to like sell a bunch of stuff online. My wife would have to help a lot, and she's got her own stuff to worry on. I don't want to like burden her by helping me sell a bunch of stuff. So like, I'll probably sell some things, but there's still gonna be a lot to take, yeah, so. Which is, I mean, I would rather take most of it, because I mean, I won't have it, but, you know, we'll see. Building the Lunadiver Stingray while watching this. Ah, nice one, man. That's one that I've always wanted to build, and I've not yet had a chance to build that one. I'll hopefully be able to get a chance to build that sometime in the next couple months or so. I've got the most recent version of that here on the shelf behind me, so we'll see. I was planning on building that after this, but because the camel just came in, I kind of want to build the camel. So that's kind of why I decided to suddenly just do a whole thing all this week to kind of try to knock this kid out so that I can get to work on the camel. Neither of which I have any real specific plans for necessarily, but just excited to work on them. Do you see my last project HG self-perfect pack by the way? And to see a video, I'll take the damage on the jam. Hey, my friend look awesome. Oh, thank you for that. No, I don't think I've seen your HG G-Self. I don't believe. You'd have to send me a link or something. You got any rare kits you want to sell? Not that I can think of offhand. I think if it's anything rare, those would be the ones that I would probably be least likely to sell. The stuff I would be more likely to sell would be things that would not be so rare, so that I can feel comfortable knowing that I could get it again if I wanted to. That would be the stuff that would be kind of less worth it for me to, you know, to pay to have shipped, if it's something that I can get again pretty easily, you know. But that said, I think it's probably the rarest thing that I'm going to be selling. I don't know, I think it's very likely I'll sell like my PG Unicorn Final Battle version, for example. Possibly my PG Phoenix as well. I kind of would like to build them at least beforehand, so I don't know. I may build them and then just sell them built. You guys probably can't get as much for them at that point, but that's fine. at least I'll have them built, and I can make videos out of that. And the money that I would lose by selling it as built instead of brand new, I can make up for by YouTube ad revenue, hopefully. I guess that would be one way to kind of get around that. Let's see. You can start shipping early to USA Gundam Store. Just start over the summer, so it's not all at once. Yeah, the chef store. I think I will probably send stuff kind of over time, but also I'm gonna be sending a lot of stuff just in a container, so I'll have like a good amount of space, which I think is probably still gonna be too full. But I'll have like it costs around, I think it was like around $1,000 for like something like 3 square meters of space on a container, which I'm sure I have more than that, but I don't know. It's a lot, but it seems kind of worth it, I think. Would you build a Hasegawa virtual on kit if you got one? Kamanda, I've always kind of been a little bit interested in building one of those virtual on kits, but like to actually get it to look really good, I think there's just like an incredible amount of masking you have to do on those, isn't there? And I hate masking. And they have a cool look, but I mean, I don't know if I would be that. I just don't think I'd be that invested in wanting to make it like that good. Alright, so pull the instructions over here so I can get a better look at what we're doing. The glue standing by, so we're just going to be gluing everything. And alright, so I got the SP glue that I'm using today for that quick drying action. The one thing that I think I will maybe do some of like off screen, because I want to stream most of the process here with you guys, but I think like I might do some of the sanding and stuff off screen, because that's not really that interesting. Of course, just sanding. I have 4 and the decals are immense. Yeah, the what's that? Virtual on. Yeah, the decals. Will you be reviewing the Armored Nuts kits? No, I thought about getting those because I mean they looked interesting in a way, you know, the novelty of them, but I just thought, I don't know, they don't. The novelty is there, but I just wasn't that interested that I wanted to get those. What do you think about the Volks Fiore kits? Yeah, I built one and it's okay. They're certainly not up to like Kotobukiya quality, but if you like the design and you can stomach the price for them, then I would say go for it. They're not bad, but definitely be prepared to glue a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's kind of it. Other than that, I mean, they're fine. For some reason, they decided to be assholes and make their like attachment points different from Kotobukiya's, and like Kotobukiya and Bandai use basically the same like generic just 3mm hole attachment point for everything, but for whatever reason Volks decided to make theirs like an X-shaped one, so you can pretty easily modify it if you really want to, but it's just kind of a pain in the ass. Aaron asking about the future giveaway. Yes, that's a good idea to do. Actually, it would be a good idea to do that related to the live stream. So yeah, there's going to be a couple of different kits that I'm going to be giving away that are kits that are being donated by a couple of guys, Aaron, and then another one that are donating some kits. So we'll have some giveaway stuff later on this week, and so yeah, maybe we'll do that with along with the live building of this. So not today, because I want to be able to make an announcement ahead of time, but maybe we'll do that on Wednesday. So I'll let you guys know about that. Because like I said, tomorrow, I think the stream tomorrow might end up being kind of short, just because of we're going to be doing more feedback for the weather contest. Okay, hang on, I need to check this. So we have 4 different rods here. One super tiny one, one a little bit larger one that looks probably like 0.8 millimeter, and then a aluminum one which looks probably the same size. So I need to see, is there like a reference in here? Just say which one's which. No, of course not. So alright, so let's see. Fortunately, for like the spring parts, oops, these are kind of like pre-cut. So here's some springs. These are already kind of cut, I guess, to the sizes that you need for them, which is convenient. And then you have another spring, which is a spring, or is it just a wire? No, it's just a wire. A lead, I think, as they call them in Japanese. And a staple. Don't step on that, hopefully. So yeah, this is just a wire, so I'm not sure. We'll end up using that later on. But, okay, so for this rod, which one do we need? So 23 millimeters of, okay, so that little like theta mark, that means the diameter of the wire, right? And it says 1, which is kind of weird that it'd be much easier to get if it said like 1 millimeter, but it just says 1, so I'm guessing that's the 1 millimeter rod, and we need 23 millimeters of that, I guess, because then down here there's that theta mark, and it says sorry, a bit further down here, and it says 0.3, which I'm guessing is this really small one. Let's see, let me just find where there's some more of these on here so I can see. So 1 must be 1 millimeter, 0.3 millimeters, 0.8, okay. So 0.3, 0.8, 1, and 1.4, is that on there? The other one's like 0.5, wait a minute. Shit. Hang on. There's 1, there's 0.3, here's 0.5, here's 0.8. Where's the one I saw? It was something else. 0.8. Maybe that's all. Okay. I guess that's right. 3, 5, 8, and 1. Why was I thinking that I saw like a 1 point something? There's 0.8. So just checking to make sure that I'm using the right gauge here. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, bear with me a little bit. Yeah. Them calipers, yes, I have calipers, but not a digital caliper. So when you're talking about like less than a millimeter, caliper is maybe not going to be all that helpful to me, unfortunately. I should get a digital one, I guess, at some point. But okay, I guess that's right. So there's 0.3, 0.5, 0.8, and 1 millimeter rod here. And for some reason, the 0.8 is in aluminum, and all the rest are in brass. So I don't know if there's any reason for that particularly, but okay, fair enough. So for this one, we need 1, which is our largest size. And I better go get my other nippers for cutting these rods. I wasn't expecting to cut them right now, but because it's just 1mm thickness, I can cut these just with my old Tamiya nippers. Is kind of what I use for this. I have a like set of rod cutters, but I've not actually opened them yet because I was planning on doing like a whole other thing with that, so I need to do that other project so I can actually use those. Literally me right now with the Stingray's fuselage piping and the instructions. Yeah. Have you built the HG Shars Gelgoog, and did you paint first, then go to the seams, or how do you modify them? I've not built that Gelgoog kit, but I've built, I think, 1 or 2 other HG Gelgoog kits, and they're all basically the same. So, I mean, yeah, there's some seam lines that you'll have to fix on that kit. I don't remember exactly offhand. I'm pretty sure there's like one on the forearm and one on the lower leg, like the back of the lower leg, which you could very easily turn the one in the back of the lower leg into just a panel line going down the back or something. I think probably pretty easily. Yeah, off the top of my head, I just can't remember. I'm sure there's probably a seam line on the head as well too, somewhere. And then like on the body, so like on like the top of the shoulder parts of the torso, I'd assume, and the shoulders, yeah, certainly. So yeah, there would be some joint and modifications and stuff that you would have to make for that kit, I'm sure, because the HG Gelgoog's pretty old. So there'd be a good amount of modifications you'd have to make. So 23mm. Oh, sorry, we need what's that? And for our spring coil, we need the 2mm one, which is this larger size, and 12mm, which is this smaller one. So, okay, this is a bit easier to kind of follow here for those, because those are kind of easier to see how big those are. So put these aside. We need 23mm of this guy, which I'm just gonna have to take my best guess at close to 23. I'm assuming we have plenty of this rod left over, that if I cut a little bit too much or something, then I don't need to worry too much about that. So there's that, and then that goes into here. So I should have glued this first, so this glue could have some time to work a little bit while I was playing around with the rod, but just sand these a little bit before we get some glue on there. Very liberal with the glue. Because it's just always easier than to just sand that back later. And there are like 2 little tiny pegs holding these parts together, but it's not like a really like tight fit. I still have to make sure that the parts are lined up, even though there's 2 pegs, so you'd think that would hold it together so that the parts are lined up exactly how they're supposed to be, but they're not really, so I have to still check that kind of carefully. So those will be like that, and I'm going to leave them off for the time being. This rod needs to go into there then, and then this spring needs to go over the top of that into there like that. So there'll be like a little bit of a gap in between. And the spring actually will fit into here as well too. I think we can probably go ahead and glue that in place, for which we'll need some super glue, which I also didn't bring, is over there. Sorry, not prepared today apparently. We can go ahead and super glue in this piece here. I should mention too, if any of you guys are into Maschinen Krieger and you're looking for this kit or something, last I checked yesterday, we do still have this kit in stock at USA Gundam Store. So Maschinen Krieger kits in general usually tend to sell out pretty quick and then pretty hard to get again after they've sold out. So if you guys are interested, just saying, act now. I think just because of the design of this one being kind of a bit more odd than usual, and just that it looks like a kind of a big satellite or something, I guess it's probably one of the less popular ones, I guess, slightly, so maybe that's why this one didn't sell out straight away, but because I know a lot of times they'll just sell out like right away. It's pretty rare to see that they're actually in stock. Hey, over there on Twitch, what's going on, Lee? No, I'm not muted. Thanks for checking, though. That would have been bad. And DT Warrior, what's going on, man? Okay, let's see. Alright. Who here found and bought an RG Wing Zero at Hobby Lobby for 40% off? That sounds like a good deal. Alright. So... Uh-oh. Well, you know, before I was saying that there's a 0.8 millimeter, actually, I should have read the English that's in big capital letters right above that says vinyl cord. This one, that's 0.8. It's okay. But let me see here. Now we're on the hunt for which wire, which rod is which now again, so... anyway, I'm sure that that one's right, the one that I used for that, because it's got to be right. And all this, even though there's two, I guess it's in the manual it's calling it vinyl cord, but this wire here is 0.8 millimeters, just strange. There's two of them, but oh, there's three of them actually, but they're all the same gauge of wire, so I don't think we need to worry too much about that. Anyway, that needs to loop up through the bottom of this kind of head. It's the sensor unit, but we'll just say the head. So it needs to go up, and I'm just going to guess that needs to be even, not like one side needs to be longer than the other or anything like that. I'm just gonna, and it's not glued in place, so if I need to give it a tug later to make one side a little bit longer, I can do that, but it's not quite even. Just to make sure I don't have any problems later, I'm just trying to make this even on both sides, but I don't think it really matters that much, but just to be safe. So here's our catfish whiskers out the bottom of that for now. And then I think we can just seal up kind of these two halves of this. There's nothing like really that needs to be sealed in between, because these parts that go onto here will just fit on just by themselves later, so nothing that needs to be sandwiched in between. So that's easy enough. We can there is, however, the clear part that goes on the front, which, give me a moment. This could be a wonderful opportunity to use this string light. So this is like just from Daiso, or like, oh no, it's from Modern House, isn't it? Anyway, so it's kind of like, for those of you in the US, Modern House here in Korea is kind of like Pt.1. They sell like stuff for your home and whatever. It's just a pack of 3 AAA battery pack here, 3 AA batteries, which is kind of extreme. Seems like a lot, but then just a string of LED lights on here, and I got this because I was thinking I can use it like in a base or something, I don't know, but what could be cool to do with this is just to run LED lights up through the body of it. It would be easy enough because like the main like shaft of the support unit, just run this wire up through there, and then we could even like have a couple of holes along the way because it's just a string of wires. Then just pack these wires like into the head, because like the head sensor unit here is just this big empty shape, and then it's got a clear part on the front, and I mean if it's just a bunch of LEDs packed in there, like when it's on it'll just shine super bright out the front of there. So that could be kind of cool. Let's see if we can do that with this. It's very easy because I'm all about not having to make my own LEDs or do any wiring or anything like that. If I can just use this, just like kind of like already set up, all I got to do is just wire it into the body. It just seems simple enough. Let's see, except that it's like tied in a knot. I don't know how to get this untied. How can I undo this? What the hell? Where's the end? That's how they get you. You can like try it the reverse way too. Like just try it. Oh, here's the end. Okay, I got it. I getcha. Are there clear parts in this kit? Yes, there's a couple of clear parts for like the big kind of sensor unit, I guess is what it is. Anyway, here on the front. Like if you look at the design, that big part, right, circle part right there on the front, that's the clear part, sensor unit. I think a lot of times it ends up, I think a lot of people painting this kit would end up just kind of painting that part. A lot of times I just see it end up being painted. But it is a clear part. So, let's see. Right here, just that little guy. So you have this clear part just for the base, and this one there, and a couple other little clear parts on there as well too, which are little lens parts. We'll see where those go. I don't know offhand. Let's see. Those go like on the back side, so I don't know. I should be able to get those to light up as well too. Actually, if we have just the whole kind of head stuffed with a bunch of LEDs. Unfortunately, I don't have any AA's here on hand to test this out, but as you can see, it's just this like string of like wire LEDs. So I actually think this will work pretty well. So I'm pretty actually happy about this idea. I think this is going to actually work. I've had this kind of LED light string here for a while, and like I said, I was thinking about putting it into a base or something like a hanger base, you know, where it's supposed to look like the inside of a hanger, and I thought like I'd line the wire of like LED lights around it so it just looks like lights in the hanger, you know. But I think this idea will also work out quite well. And Deanjo, thank you so much for the super chat there. Help! I may or may not have ordered more plastic. Hey, I know how that goes. I don't think you're asking the right person for help though, unfortunately, on that one. I just got to the point where I decided I just had to make it my job so that I could justify it. And ANA frame, how much did that cost you? I don't remember how much this cost offhand, but I'm sure I got it on sale because these, well, I don't know. On the price tag on it says 5,901, which is like about $5, which is not too bad. But I know, like in that store, a lot of times a lot of stuff is kind of ridiculously expensive for what it is. So I was thinking that this must have cost more, but I guess, yeah, $5 is not that bad. So I'm undoing this whole string, basically just to do it again, but I'm just kind of getting it so there's not any tangles in it or anything. And I think for now I need to build the body. So let's leave this just to now that I've got it like all this big string everywhere. Let's leave this to the side just for the moment, and let's work on some other parts so that we can get like some of the main parts built, so that we can then get the wire through there. So if you guys have ever built any of these kits, basically how it goes is you have a lot of it's like the main sections, and then you have like sub-assemblies. So like this part that we did here is this part here on the side. So you build these parts, and then later you have like the main assembly, or like the main body of this section here, like that, and then you build this part here on the side separately, and then you just stick it onto there. So we can kind of build like some of the sub-assemblies and then build the main parts separately. We don't need to necessarily stick everything together quite yet. So, oops. Let's work on a few more kind of relevant sections here for this, so that we can see if then we can get that LED wire in there. Which seems to me so far, at the moment anyway, that it should be easy to do so. So I think we're gonna be fine. Just need to glue this part here as well too. Making sure I got the halves lined up, because once again with this part as well too, like there's a little peg to hold the two halves of this little section together there, but that doesn't mean that the parts are actually going to be completely lined up. Farid, what's going on, man? Nolan asking, what is he making? I'm making the, what's this called? Krachenvogel. Yes, so I'm gonna skip ahead for the moment, and those are our parts like for the head. I've got my organizer thing here. I was gonna keep calling it the head when it's a sensor unit, right? But is that we also need the clear part here for that. The base, I don't think I'll need to use the base part, based on what I'm now planning on doing with this. Here's like the main support unit, kind of that. And I also want to then build here, we need runner B. I kind of want to build like the main body sections of this here first, so that we can see how the wire is going to fit through there. It's B1 and 2. A little late, but 1 millimeter is 0.0397 of an inch, so you can use your calipers. Just, oh my. I don't know if that's comment. I don't know if that comment is for me, but we don't have any. I don't have anything inches related here. So my caliper is in millimeters. My mat is in millimeters. This is all in millimeters. So at least for me anyway, I don't need to worry about doing any of that conversion. How's the plastic? Is it great like the latest Bandai plastic runner? I mean, it's fine. It's not like noticeably good or bad or anything like that, I think. It's wave, and it's made by Wave. So I know a couple of the runners are quite old because they're from the new spotter kit, which I don't think there's a date on the runners. Is there? No, because the copyright date is because the old runners are from the old Nito kit, and so the date with the copyright there is removed off the runners, so you can't see it. But I don't know when the new spotter kit came out, but I don't think it's that old. I think it came out in like 2012 or something like that, I want to say, but I don't know actually offhand. I don't know if like the original Nito runners are older than that. Then why couldn't I measure my wires? I couldn't measure my rods because I don't. I do have a caliper, but it's not a digital caliper. And so if it's less than a millimeter, it'd be kind of hard to tell exactly if it's like 0.3 or 0.5 or whatever. So I just kind of have to guess just based on what's in the manual and what's here. Unfortunately, a little bit of flash on this clear part as well too, so just need to sand this a little bit, and I think I'll probably, there's like a little bit of flash on the inside of the clear part as well too. That's kind of a pain in the ass. Oh no, there's not. Okay, it was just something. There is like some injection pin marks on the inside of the clear part. So I'll have to see about that. I'll have to do some more work on this clear part if I'm going to keep it clear and everything. You can't tell millimeters by using your eyes. Yeah, I mean, I am a pro, but I mean, with like these three, which they're all just very small. So I mean, I can't tell if that's 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. I can guess, but fortunately, it's all here. So let's just see then. So here's 0.5. That's vinyl cord. That's vinyl cord. That's coil spring. So I don't know what some of this. I don't know what it is then. Beats me. The super tiny one maybe is not 0.3. It's interesting. I don't know. Oh, but we did miss a couple little parts on that actually. Well, one, A17. It's a really super duper tiny little one. A17. Yes. You should sit back and what are you guys still talking about that? I'm spending a lot of time trying to figure out what exactly the gauges are on those wires, but yes, at the same time, I'm not that worried about it. So, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, as they say. Then, let's see. This is a polycap part for C. It's this one. This could be a bit of an issue. But not a very big one. So the head is kind of attached by this like ball and socket polycap. Where's runner D? And so that means we can't run this wire through the ball and socket, so we'll have to run it around that outside of there, which shouldn't be that big of an issue. Okay. Let's get some of these parts here built together, and then we'll see how it's going then. This little tiny guy. This super tiny little part. Get this cleaned up and glued on before I lose it somewhere. It'll go flying across the desk and disappear into space. Man. All right. Yes, this part is tiny. It's just like a... I was gonna say like a little pinhead, but it's larger than a pinhead, but not by much. I don't know, for those of you in the US, it's like an eighth of an inch or something, maybe. On this top part, and it's got not one, on a part this tiny, like you would hope that it would only have just like one gate mark on it, one gate. But it has two. So after this, I'll be headed off to the glasses shop to upgrade my prescription, so my eyes will be ruined. Even more so. So that, okay, I need tweezers now because that part is tiny. Where'd my tweezers go? A little bit of glue there. That's stuck on. There we go. Okay, couldn't have just molded that onto the part. Of course, that had to be a separate piece, naturally. But there is where we're gonna stick another little bit of wire. It's 53 millimeters of that, so kind of a long bit of 0.3, which I'm guessing is not this super tiniest, this really super tiniest size. Well, I guess what we can do to compare, because I have some other wire which is maybe similar size. Nope. Apparently 0.8 is the smallest that I have. And this really super tiny one, I'm guessing, is not 0.3. This might be 0.1. It's really tiny, as you can see. Oh, I don't know if you guys are seeing that. It's like super bendy even. So I'm gonna guess that's 0.1. And this kind of smaller one, but still quite small, is 0.3. So we need how much? 53 millimeters of this. I have an exact number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And probably going to want to drill that out a little bit more, I think. That's going to be stuck into there. Yeah. it's kind of stuck into there like that. For the time being, you can see, like that. But I'm going to drill that out, and so I can get that rod in there a little bit deeper, because the hole is kind of shallow for gluing that in. So if I glue it in there like that, I'm sure later at some point I'm just going to pop that off really easily. So drill is over there, and because that piece that's plugged into, I just glued it into there, so I don't want to drill into it while it's like got fresh glue underneath. So I'll just set that to the side for now. We'll drill that out more a little bit later. As for these pieces, so I said for the polycap to cut some off the sides here. It says cut 4 millimeters. I'm not being scientific about it, so hopefully that's right. That'd be like that. And let's see. Yeah, Edward, don't worry. Edward's saying sorry, he was just trying to help. Don't worry, man. Thank you for the help. I wasn't sweating it. I know you were just trying to help, but yeah. It's not really much I can do to guess the gauge of those wires, so. If I had a digital caliper, that would do it, but yeah, I just don't have that, so. This other little piece here that I forgot to stick on, so I just want to get this stuck on there real quick. Still using that battery-powered drill you built. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, the occasion to use that doesn't come up very often, but like I said, like during when I made that review video for that, it's just one of those things that it's nice to have when you need it, but it's not the kind of thing that I would imagine that you would need very often. I guess depending on the kind of work that you're doing, but like for mecha modeling, kind of Gunpla in general, I don't think that it's a tool that you would really find yourself needing all that often. To the side of there. What's that part supposed to be? Who knows? Let's see. Is there any more relevant info we can glean from the paint card? No, there's not. Nothing in English anyway. So on the paint card, like sometimes they'll have information about, you know, what's what on the kit, but doesn't look like that's gonna be the case for us this time. I might keep this out though, just because it's kind of, where can I put it? Good to kind of keep in mind what we're working with here. Let's also, while we're gluing, let's put a little bit of glue on this. need the top of the ball joint. You guys are talking about Warhammer, so I'm kind of lost on that one, and unfortunately it's just not something that I'm into, so I don't know anything about it. Joint, and that's actually going to be encased in these parts. Let's get these together then next. Don said, hello, are the shopping in Seoul videos still your recommended, or have you found other good places? Well, I haven't been to Seoul in a while because of Corona here. But as far as I know, I think like Hobby Factory is still in the same place. So yeah, like if you're going to Seoul anytime soon, I would definitely recommend checking out Hobby Factory. And I think I didn't do a video on Neighbor Hobby, I think because they wouldn't let me record inside, but that's still there if you just look up where it is. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably still in the same place as well too. Those would be kind of the main places I would recommend. Well, didn't really need to glue that part necessarily because it's going to be locked into these parts, which are also glued, so oh well. And a bunch of parts kind of stuck all over this later, so you can kind of just go ahead and glue this section as well pretty easily. Except that it's kind of not fitting together quite right. Nope. So the past couple of days, my wife and I have been watching Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. I know it's been out for a while, especially the first season. First series, is it called a season? It's not really necessarily a season, the first series. It's been out on Netflix for a while, and I know I've heard from a bunch of people how great it is, but I've never actually watched it until we just started watching it the past 2 days. And it's pretty cool. So very glad finally are watching that. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that already, right? What do you guys think? Are you fans? It's not necessarily like I was expecting like every episode, every part of it to be like somehow robot related, but it's not necessarily the case. It's not all robot related, is it? Devin asked, did you finish the Galaga model? I don't remember. I have not, actually. That's here. Yeah, maybe you see that behind me. Yeah, it's here still unfinished because I kind of messed it up, and that, like I was working on that like right at the time when I moved from my previous place to this place, so it kind of just got set aside at the moment. And one reason why I hadn't finished it was because when I painted it, it got some kind of bad texture to it, but now that I'm pulling it out and looking at it again, it's not that bad. So I was thinking like, I think I need to repaint it, but honestly, I don't think I need to repaint. I think it's probably fine, especially for what I have planned for it. Yeah, the couple areas where the paint is a little bit rough, I think will be totally fine. I don't think it's really gonna be that big of a deal, actually, to be honest. So yeah, I'll work on finishing this at some point. It's here, yeah. I'll do that, and it's got some parts. I was actually looking for these. I didn't know they were here in this box. this set of sensors. I was looking for this recently because I wanted to use some of those parts on something else. Oops. Do a fine wet sand on it. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'll do. I'll try on the parts that are a little bit rough. I'll maybe try to do a little bit of wet sanding or something on it. But it's not that bad, honestly. It's like, oh, I'm sure later, because it's not finished. I'm gonna paint more on top of that, the camo pattern that I had planned for that. So it's just kind of like the base color. I think once I paint more on top of that, and then after everything else and all that, it's not gonna be a problem at all. Farid asks, how was the COVID condition in your area or your country? Have you got the vaccine? I have not gotten the vaccine yet, and I don't know when we're going to be able, my wife and I are going to be able to get the vaccine. I think it's still probably going to be a while yet. Because of just the availability and our, our age and, what's the word I'm trying to say? Anyway, the category that we were in. But yeah, I think it'll be a while before we get the vaccine. So I don't know if we'll be able to get that. So we're moving in November to Florida. I don't know if we'll be able to get the vaccine actually before it moves. We might get it in America when we get there. I don't know. But the situation here, demographic, I guess maybe. Non-high risk, boom cannon, right? Something like that. Anyway, we're not in the high risk category, demographic. Anyway, the situation here, it was bad at the start because like when COVID was first happening, here, because we're very near China, it was one of the kind of really bad places right at the start. But they got pretty good control over it really quickly. So it's still going on. We still get like new cases and stuff, but it's fairly well under control. It's not gone, obviously, entirely, which would be nice. But like we still have to wear masks all the time. Anytime we're outside or like in any kind of like public place, we're still supposed to wear masks. But here. This is like one of the reasons why like here and China and Japan, these countries nearby here in Asia kind of got it under control, I think, at least to a degree earlier on compared to like countries in the West, is because people here are very used to wearing masks. It's just a kind of a common thing. People wear masks if they have a cold or whatever. It's not really a big deal. So you didn't have this same like mask hesitancy that you had with a lot of people in the West that just didn't want to wear masks for whatever reason. Here it's just kind of a normal thing, just people wear masks, if they're sick or whatever. It's kind of, I'm sure you guys, it's not like news to you guys, I'm sure you all know that, but, it's to the point where it's like I don't want to say like a meme or like a stereotype or something like that with like Asian people wearing masks, right? If you've ever watched like videos about like traveling to Japan, they'll be like things to like top 10 things to know before you travel to Japan. There'll be something like, oh, you'll see people wearing masks, but that doesn't mean that they're sick or something like that. So it's just something that everyone knows. It's just kind of a thing here. Here in Asia. So here's our main shaft, which does have some kind of pegs right down the middle, which will be kind of, I think, maybe getting in the way if we've got a wire going up through there. Let's see. So we might remove those pegs on the inside of there just to get those out of the way, I think. Maybe we'll leave the one at the top and the bottom because I think those will probably be okay. But everything else in between we don't necessarily really need. So, yeah. Well, I don't know. And also, I mean, this is interesting. It also seems to be molded in a way, like almost like it's planned for you to put a wire in between there. That's weird. Because like, it's gonna be really hard to explain, but on these holes where the pegs go into, like on the side, it's not like a perfect circle. Like on the side here, it's like kind of a little bit, it looks like it's like filed down sort of on the side. And it looks like it's done in a way basically to make room for having like a wire through the middle of there. So that's interesting. Let's see. Corey asked, have you started painting your Mark V? No, not yet. I've got it all like taken apart, so I need to just work on some more sanding and stuff on that. But nothing else is, nothing's painted or anything yet. It's not ready to be painted yet. So, okay. Well, let me, how does this part fit onto there? So this one will later just be stuck onto the bottom of that. So let's go ahead and glue those, or not yet. Maybe not yet. Let me see. Just trying to plan this out well enough. There's also the bottom part we need to do. The analysis memory unit. Interesting. Be the bottom part. So you have the top was the sensor unit, and then the power unit in the middle, and then the support unit. And then the analysis memory unit at the bottom. So let's build that as well too. So we have kind of all of our main sections, and then we can see how the LED wire will fit through those. Ian says, I'm in Florida, the vaccine is very available, but I would get it sooner than later, as most people here don't like wearing masks and are neuron deficient. Yeah, fair enough. Well, I think we're on a list, like a no-show list. My wife was telling me the other day that fortunately like a doctor like came in and it's a client here, and so like they have like a no-show list kind of for like people who are scheduled, who are like are older or whatever, who are scheduled to get the vaccine, but if for whatever reason they just don't show up, they can't keep the vaccine like for a long time. So if the people just who are supposed to get it don't show up and they have these extras that they need to use, they'll give those to people in other categories and other demographics or whatever, who kind of like signed up to be on the list to get it earlier. So we might be able to get it earlier by that way, if that makes sense. I believe my wife was telling me about this just on Saturday, and as far as I understood it, that's kind of how that situation is going. Ben said, would you recommend trying Maschinen Krieger kits for novice builders? They look so interesting, but also a bit intimidating. I mean, yes, I mean, they are a little bit more difficult, like sort of quote-unquote difficult to put together compared to like an average Gundam kit, because they're not just like snap build. There's definitely more thought required. But I mean, you figure it out. Just be prepared to like glue everything, and like it's just more of a traditional model, really. So I mean, it's not going to be like a super dynamic posable kind of thing. As far as just like the construction goes, you'll figure it out. And I think honestly it's kind of a bit more fun because it's a bit more challenging in that way. So if you're just looking for something simple to just kind of zone out and build and not really have to like use your brain, and Gunpla is great for that. It's very meditative. That's one of the reasons why I love building Gunpla. But if you want something that's a bit more engaging, then this would be great for that. Looking for a challenge, that sounds good. Yeah, man. Yeah, if you're looking for a challenge, definitely check it out. I mean, as far as like tools, what you'll need for just like the actual building process, I would recommend having like a set of drills. All like pretty basic tools. I mean, just drill, files maybe, glue. That's really kind of about it, I guess, as far as like anything else aside from just like your normal set of nippers and knives tools. So, there is a specific way this goes together like that. What can I test this on? Here. I want to test like if I don't put the LED in right now, if I want to string it through later, I want to see, make sure that I can just like drill a 3mm. I'm actually having a larger drill bit, but let's just test something out here. On the top of this runner label. So if I use like, I have a larger drill than 3mm, but let's just say if I'm using just the 3mm hole, will LED fit through that? Let's see and find out. So, yeah, at least the lights fit through there, no problem. So that's fine. And the wire here at the base is a bit thicker, but should probably be okay. Am I gonna have to string this all the way through here to find out? Just to be sure, I will test it. So the thicker part here, yeah. Yeah, no, it's not gonna fit through a 3mm hole. So would be best to not have to worry about that. But I think what I'm gonna do is have this out the bottom. All right, so sorry guys, bear with me a moment here, playing with this wire. I think what I'm gonna do is Speaking of meditative zoning outs, do you remember that cute cube wound wart? It's certainly not one of those kits. Yeah, of course, I remember that kit, yeah. Infamous kit. I think what I'm gonna do is stick with just a 3mm hole in the bottom of that, and actually, let's see. It's a perfect time to try out this. This I recently bought because sometimes I found myself needing something larger than 3mm, but I didn't really have anything in metric. I have a set of drill bits, but they're not in metric, and so I also didn't have a proper handle for them. So I got this thing here from Wave, which is a quick change pin vise large set, so it has 0.4, 0.5, and 0.6 4, 5, and 6mm drills when you need something a little bit bigger. Okay, just trying to check before I just completely destroy the packaging. Trying to see the instructions on the back about how to change them out. Looks like you have to, let's see. That's all? Why it sits very deep inside of there? Is there no way to have this actually sticking out a little bit more? I guess that's as far as that's gonna stick out of there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use that, and we're going to use this here, also from Wave. Everything's Wave. The tools are Wave, the kit's Wave, parts are Wave. It's a 6mm pipe. And this is what I'll use. Actually, I have this short little piece that's kind of just the right size. Might be exactly what we need. I'll use this 6mm pipe to basically connect this to the base, and we can stick our wire through this because the interior of this pipe is let's see, 4.2 it says. Is that right? Oh yeah, it's quite large. So our LED wire can go up through this mount, what would you call this? I don't know, mounting piece up through there and then up into our body and everything. But is this little piece, which I already have cut off, long enough, or do I want something a little bit longer? I think I want something a little bit longer, actually. So I'll have to cut that. So we'll cut that later, because that would require me to go over there and get something else again. Already been kind of going back and forth, getting stuff that I need. So we'll set that aside for the moment, and we'll cut that. Do that later. But for now, we can get this part glued together. So I got my hands on the HG Silver Bullet Suppressor and the HG Jesta. A day after I placed my order, I had this ridiculous idea to order a 1/44 scale LCAC for the Jesta. What's the LCAC? I don't know what that is. Yeah, Wave sponsors. I don't know what I would have to do to actually get a Wave sponsorship, but I don't think that would be possible. That'd be cool. And even for us at USA Gundam Store, we even unfortunately aren't able to get a ton of Wave products. I know some, but they're not easy to get all the time. So it's not even like a sponsored thing like for USA Gundam Store. But just got to have those wave products. So just checking, because there is a certain way that these two are supposed to fit together. Just making sure I'm putting them on the right way. We'll go ahead and glue these. A little glue here. A little glue there. A little glue there. We'll give a little bit of glue to every peg hole. And even a little bit here on the edge as well too, because why not? It's going to be covered up later as well by some separate parts. So yeah, we'll drill a hole into the bottom of this, stick this up into there, run our LED wire through there, and then through this part here, and up into everything. And I'm just trying to see where else, aside from like the main kind of sensor eye, where else could we have the light peeking out, because we've got lots of lights to work with. Where else could we have the light coming out? Maybe just on like, I'll just drill a couple of holes, like a couple of little holes in what's it called? The engine unit, just to make it look like it's got a couple of lights on there or something as well too. And yeah, I've got like a base which I can use for that. That I can stick the battery pack up into the bottom. So that'll be easy enough as well too. So I think we'll be good. Actually, very excited to use those LEDs with this thing. That's going to be very cool. So we got that, and I think it's kind of all we need for now, as far as like planning how to get our LEDs into there. It's just a matter of what I'm trying to be sure of is if I need to put any LEDs in there ahead of time, because it's going to make it a little bit more tricky to paint, because I have to kind of account for this big wire hanging out that I'll have to like rubber band up, and like that'll be kind of getting in the way while I'm trying to paint the kit, and I kind of want to avoid that if possible. But it looks like I can avoid that pretty well. But I think just to make sure, because like I said, it seems like for the main body here, once we put these together, that there's going to be enough space, because it even seems like in the top and bottom here there's a hole left there, so it totally seems like this is made for you to be able to run a wire up through the inside of that. Let's just go ahead and see how easy that is to do before I glue anything. I could glue it and then just pop it apart again later, but let's see how easy this is just to run the wire up through there while these are connected. It's going to be kind of a little bit tricky, but if I can do it, then I won't worry about trying to remove the pegs on the inside. I'll just leave them as they are. And I think this is gonna be easy peasy. You can just feed this through there. It's getting caught on something. To make this as straight as possible, to kind of thread the needle up through there so it doesn't get caught on anything. Should be about that much we need. So once we get it through, I can just pull it. There we go. Yes! Haha! Yeah, man. Oh, nice! I'm so happy. That's gonna be easy. We don't need to cut and modify anything. Just glue this together, feed the LED wire up through there. No big deal. I think maybe even here on like the sides of the support unit, you can even put a couple of lights in here along the way. Just drill a couple of holes in there. I think we can do that. And I have like little clear parts. I can just drill a little hole and make like a little clear part on top of there. Bingo, bango, bongo. Alright, very cool. So, that means I don't need to put in... What that means is I don't need to put any wires in ahead of time. I can, you know, make everything and paint everything and do all that, and then I can just put the LED wire in last once everything's all done, and then easy. So there you go. Yes, Jester. Yes, exactly. My freeform jazz modeling style works out again. Indeed. And what is there no better way to model? I would pose that question to you, other than the freeform jazz technique of modeling. Sort of like Zen modeling, isn't it? You just build and let the model take you where it will. So let's get some glue on this then. I know a lot of people, when they hear freeform jazz, a lot of people, especially in our community, I'm sure would think of Gundam Thunderbolt, because that's probably the first thing that comes to mind. But actually, for me, it reminds me of the Receiving End of Sirens, if you guys are familiar with that band. Classic kind of post-hardcore, kind of like they're one of those like post-hardcore emo type of bands. Anyway, very good band, I would say, and if any of you guys are familiar with them, I'm sure you would agree. But anyway, the Receiving End of Sirens, they have one of the lines in the song is about freeform jazz. Every time I hear that, I'm just thinking of that line in the song. Love that smell of fresh glue. Interesting that every type of glue has a different smell. On the backside, there's not a seam line there, but a mold line. I'll have to sand that later. So yeah, there'll be plenty of sanding to do later on. But for now, we'll do the fun stuff and do the sanding later. I think of Big O when I hear jazz. Yeah, I guess that's a good one as well too. That makes sense. Worf says, what is the freeform style you speak of? Like just paint and build out of order? No, Worf, it's kind of like I would say like an inside joke, but it's just kind of reference. We talked about that before. Someone like, what was the kid I was working on? I think I was working on the Gelgoog here, the 80s Gelgoog kit. And there was one guy that was like, just like taking the piss in the comments of those videos and basically just kind of saying that I was just like really bad at modding kits, really bad at like doing scratch building and modifications and stuff, and like that I didn't like, or either he recommended it or someone else recommended. Anyway, someone said something that like I should plan my models first, and I think it was someone in the Discord, in like my Discord, said something like, we were talking about the guy's comments, and someone said something about that like the way I go about projects like that and like doing any modifications and stuff is sort of like freeform jazz, in that just I don't really have a plan. I just kind of go for it, and I get ideas along the way and just kind of go with the ideas, and there's not really any kind of rhyme or reason about it, just kind of go with it. So that's what Deshev's just talking about. Yeah, just go with it, see what works. Not really worry too much about it. There's no like proper way to go about doing anything, right? At least as far as we're concerned. So with that means I think that we can go ahead and close up the top part as well too. Interesting. These wires that we had running through there also kind of then run through here, which doesn't seem like they're gonna fit through there. And we need to modify this. Interesting. So like this is the one thing that I think was changed from the original model. that they added a neck joint. I think the original model must not have had like a neck joint because there's just a straight peg here, but it says to cut that off and drill a hole instead the neck joint so that it has like a little bit of articulation kind of for the top sensor part. I don't think it really needs it at all, but it says to just go ahead and cut that off and put a 2mm hole. Where'd my neck joint piece go? There it is. Put a 2mm hole here instead. So our neck joint piece that we were putting together earlier, that's what will fit up into there. So here's where we need to sort out where the wire, where the LED wire is going to go through from like the engine unit, which is this part, power unit, that's what it's called, sorry. Power unit, so yeah, you can see like it has this bit of articulation, I guess, that the original model maybe didn't have. It was just a straight peg right down into there. But we need to make a point for our LED wire to go up through here and into there. All it really has of a connection is just that one little 2mm peg. So let's see what we can do. Where would be a good place to make that connection? Probably in the back, I guess, which would be this side. Let me see. I think I have this backwards actually. Or do I? No, I don't. I have it right. Probably in the back side I think would be good, I suppose. Or just straight up into there, but I think this detail is not really going to be all that visible, but it is a little bit. So I guess we won't make it straight into there. We'll have it a little bit to the back. Interesting. Looking at the illustration here, it's like a, I don't know, a small thing. You guys can see this here, I'll point it out too. Between these parts, there's like this thicker part. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see. If you can see where I'm pointing at, there's like, between, there's like a thicker part and a thinner part. Can you see that? Between like the head and the power unit in this kind of like shaft section between there, connecting them. There's this larger part which is probably like 5mm or something, and the smaller part which is maybe like 3. But looking at it in the illustration, it doesn't look like there's that much of a gap. It looks like there's just the thicker part. So what I'm thinking to do is maybe that 2mm hole that we drilled, drill that out, oops, larger. Well, I guess that's fine. So that this fits deeper into there so that there's not that gap there. Because I don't really care that much about that articulation, really, to be honest. It'll still be able to turn, you just won't be able to change the angle of it. So do I want to keep that angle of that or not? Shit, I don't know. It could be kind of cool. But I think I can set that in there a little bit deeper and still be able to get an angle out of that. So let's go ahead and do that. We're freeform jazzing it once again. It's a bit like playing a first-person shooter and using the spray and pray method. You just kind of go for it and hope that it works out. And it's not, because I thought this would be, I thought that 3mm would be the right size for this, but it's not quite fitting. I do have a reaming tool, which would be, I guess this would be the right time to use that, but no, I think this will fit in there. Just need to jam it a little bit. Come on. You're right there, almost wanting to fit in. I know you can do it. And then, let's see. I'm sorry if you mentioned this already, but is this kit an original Nito one or a renewal wave one? Oh, this is the renewal wave one, but yeah, it's still using like all the Nito runners, and I think there's just like a couple of, maybe one or two new runners to this kit, basically. Damn. This part's just a little bit too tight fitting into there. I'm gonna file this down a bit. Try to get it to fit in there well. Overdo it, so a little bit of filing, see if this fits into there. Seems like it should fit. Why is it like not wanting to go in? What's wrong with you? There you go. Okay. That's much better. So we won't have so much of a gap there for that. Let's go and get some glue on that. And it should still be able to move just fine. Once that ball joint is on there, I can still get the angle of it. Maybe it's like slightly less than before, but it should still be able to get a little bit of an angle out of that, so I ain't worried about it. We'll go ahead and just leave that like that. Well, at least it's gonna have less of a gap, so that's good. Now, as for this wire, it needs to be strung through here, but it's not gonna fit. So let's go ahead and try to drill this out a little bit if we can. Slightly. The wire is 0.8, and I have a 0.8 drill, but it's over there, so I'm just gonna use a 1mm drill. Should be fine. As long as we don't break this little part there. Get that at least big enough to get this wire through there. Come on. Come on, there you go. There we go. I feel like I'm sewing something. And I want to be careful pulling this through as well too, because I think that's very possible that that little bit that this is going through could very easily break. And I would assume that for like people who build a lot of Machine Krieger kits, and anyone who's built this kit or any version of it before, like I'm sure, like if I were to ask Lincoln about it, I'm sure he would say that they usually just cut that off and just make something different, instead of relying on the plastic part because it is so easily broken. But I'm a maverick. I'm just gonna try to use it anyway. And if it breaks, then we'll fix it. But until it breaks, we're gonna use it. So there we go. Kind of like on the Cooster, it had a what was it that I used the plastic parts on the Cooster as well for like the what are they, kind of rods. The kit included brass rods to use instead of the plastic parts, but I just decided to just stick with using the plastic parts. and they did break. One of them broke, or two of them broke, but I just glued them again. So there we go. Whew. Sorry. Got any suggestions for latest and good movies? No, I don't know, Fareed, if you were here when I was talking about this just a little bit earlier. I said that my wife and I started watching Love, Death, and Robots. It's not a movie, but short films. It's a collection of short films, sort of. Anyway, it's good. Are you going to implant a light gimmick in it? Yes. Spretsna's knife. Yeah, that's what I've been talking about. I'm guessing you just came into the stream recently, maybe the last few minutes or something. But yes, that's what I've been kind of planning out the entire time. It wasn't my plan from the start, but just like after starting to build it, I decided I wanted to put in this LED set, which is just this string of LED lights connected to a AA battery pack. Here, string light, 30 LEDs along a 3 meter. That's really 3 meters? It didn't seem that long. It's long, but didn't realize it's that long. Is it really 3 meters long? Damn. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, as I was talking about earlier, I picked this up. I guess it can be like 3 meters. Yeah, I guess so. I guess. Fair enough. But yeah, I picked this up to. My idea was to probably end up using this for like a hanger display, but it's going to work very nicely for this kit. We'll run it up through the thing and then into the head and have the clear part lighten up and everything. Gonna be a fun time. So yes. Alright, what else then can we do? So that's all of that section. Let me go ahead and grab that drill set then, I think, because what was the other thing that I needed from over there? Saw. We're going to use my massive, better close that glue before something bad happens. Use my massive overkill giant saw, which is not made for plastic models, even though it's made by Tamiya. It says Tamiya Craft Tools Thin Blade Craft Saw on the side. But don't get it twisted, this is actually meant for cutting down trees, and I'm just a barbarian using it on plastic models. And I think something like that should be enough. Again, I'm not gonna actually measure anything because, like, what do I look like? A guy who measures stuff? Come on. Cutting a piece here for our support, which will be plugged into our base. Much. Thanks for your service. The thing is that I need to think about the angle of this, because this needs to, like, if I put it on straight up into the bottom, then the thing will be standing up straight, but I think, like, just to make the kit look a little bit more dynamic, I want to have it to be, like, on a little bit of an angle, right? So I want to, like, probably stick this into, like, the side a little bit, something like that, but I'm not exactly sure where yet, so we'll just keep that off to the side for now until we're a bit further on, and then I can know exactly where I want to have that stand. Or I need to pop something in my back, it's kind of stuck. Alright, but let's go back to this piece here and get this stuck in there a little bit better. So 0.3 would be this one, but let's go ahead and use super teeny tiny drill. I call my big hobby saw Big Hank. That's a good name for it. You gotta have a big one. I actually did get, like, along with this new set of wave big size drills, I did also get a new big size saw, but it's like not quite as big chungus of a saw. It's like a little bit more reasonable looking, but again, that one as well too, I've not actually opened yet because I'm planning on using it like for like a project. Just drilled out a little bit more so we can set our rod in there deeper. I think that's the right size. I think I might have used a little bit too small size. No, I didn't. That's right. Okay. So, we'll use some super glue on that as well too. This set of drill bits, by the way, I'm sure you guys have seen. I'm sure I've shown in a video before, but you probably haven't seen it for a while. Because I don't use it very often. Because they're super tiny. This is set from Stylix. 10 pieces. 0.3 up to 1.2. So when you need to drill really small holes, it's good for that. And a bunch of different sizes and everything. So let's get a little bit of super glue on that. Oops. No, I don't want you stuck right there. That'll be good. Thanks very much. Okay. Excelente. So step one is basically all done except for gluing these together. Our big shells, two big clam shells. Music reminds me of Persona 5. Yes, I'm terribly sorry guys. I know I've still not yet changed the music. I need to do that. I promise I will do that this week. It's just, I have the music for that. I just need to like actually put it into like a playlist and export it so that I can have it just as like one long track instead of like a what it is now is just all this separate tracks. So yes, apologies. This SP glue is great, but the only problem is that it dries like, oops, even faster than the thin cement. So you gotta, as for like something really big like this, you gotta be real quick. Gotta have the part, have a good grip on that part, and yeah, the glue just runs everywhere, very thin. So. It is okay if it's just kind of slopped on there, because it's going to be sanded and all that later on, so. think that's looking pretty good. Seems like we got a good bead coming out all along the edge there. So I think we did pretty well for ourselves. Just a little extra glue for good measure. And we can set that aside. Alright, and go back to the power unit. Well, there's a bunch of little parts that go around stuck onto like the sensor unit, but we'll save that for later once I get the seam line all glued. So all sanded, so after the glue is dried and we can get the sanding done on that, then we'll stick all the other little parts onto there, which there's a bunch of. So I can go back to the power unit here because there's a bunch of things to add onto that as well too. From the B runner. Does Twitch have a different playlist of music playing right now? The music should be the same on Twitch. Actually, I was saying that we're gonna go back to the power unit, but actually before that, I'm gonna put together the anti-gravity unit here because there's more. Seems I should just glue all the big seam lines first so that the glue can start doing its thing on those and I can sand them all later. Anti-gravity unit, and then the liquid nitrogen cylinders here. Gundam Lancelot is asking about a Jabi the Hung and Zacharelius collab. I don't know him. I don't want to know him. No, I don't know him, and so I don't think that would happen. But I mean, if there was a good idea for something to do, I mean, I would be open to it. But I don't think he really does a lot of Gunpla related stuff. I mean, that much anymore, does he? I don't know. I don't watch, to be honest. Just normally, like, I've seen some of his Gundam stuff, but not anytime recently. So either he's not doing much Gundam stuff anymore, or just YouTube isn't recommending it to me because I don't normally watch his channel. It's nothing against him. I don't watch much Gunpla or Gundam related content in general on YouTube, so I don't really have a whole lot of that stuff ever really coming up in my feed. How about a Charlie 426 collaboration? Yeah, he's also here in Korea. When I had this would have been a year and a half ago, obviously before COVID, but we had a meetup in Seoul that only a couple people came to, which makes sense because I mean most of my audience I know is not in Korea. It's in like the US and Canada and then like other Southeast Asian countries, but not really so much in Korea, obviously, because it's in English. My content is all in English. But anyway, I guess one of the guys that came to the meetup also knows Charlie, and he said that Charlie was going to be coming, but I guess he ended up not being able to come. So I was going to meet him at that time, and I'm sure that probably, had we met at that time, that probably would have ended up with us wanting to do some sort of collaboration, but he wasn't there, so it didn't happen, and we've never really talked like much one-on-one. I think we've probably shared like a couple of comments or something, like things that he's commented on a Facebook group or like on my Facebook page or something like that, but I think that's about really the extent of any communication much that we've had. So on these parts, I'm not even removing the nubs on these yet because the nubs are right by the edges that are going to be where the seam line is that needs to be sanded. So on stuff like that, you just leave the nub on there. And then, later on, after you glue it, and then when you're sanding away the glue from the seam line, you just get rid of the nubs all at the same time. So there's not really any reason to do those ahead of time. Just a little trick of the trade for you guys, if you haven't figured that out already. This one's going to be a little bit more tricky because we've got seams. Oh, the seam goes through all the detail. That's annoying. It's like all these lines and everything. Oh, me, oh my. So, that sucks. What are you gonna do? How on earth do you make Gunpla model suit kits for when you haven't watched a lot of it? I have watched a lot of Gundam, I just haven't watched much of it recently. I don't keep up like with it. I mean, like most Gundam series I've seen once and like a long time ago. So I mean, like I've seen most Gundam series at some point. But yeah, if you're just referring to me kind of a lot of times not having a lot of background knowledge about different mobile suits and stuff, I mean, I don't know. I just enjoy the model kits. I don't think you need to. You don't have to watch the anime in order to enjoy the kits. I just like think that the robots are cool. And I totally understand like having that background knowledge or like experience of like seeing the kit in the anime and then building it, that can make it a lot more exciting building the kit for people, because like you've seen the robot, the Gundam or whatever in the anime and you really liked it, so then you're actually getting able to build it. That can add to the enjoyment of building a kit. Yeah, certainly I understand that, but for me it's just and I can kind of understand people wanting me as like a reviewer when I'm reviewing the kits. I can understand people wanting me to be a bit more knowledgeable about the suits and stuff ahead of the review, but again, just the thing is that I'm just reviewing a model kit. It's not really necessarily a history lesson on the mobile suit or anything. I mean, yeah, if you have a gun, for example, and not knowing if the gun shoots missiles or lasers, I guess, I mean, it's a gun. So, I mean, does it really matter? If I say, oh, it's a laser cannon, and someone will comment, it doesn't shoot lasers, it shoots like missiles or physical ammunition or something like that. It's like, does it really change the model kit? No. Does it really change what the model kit can do? The model kit's not going to shoot anything. So you can, I mean, it's just kind of up to your own imagination at that point. If you want to imagine that the kit shoots lasers instead of missiles, then why not? Gun is gun, exactly. And yes, go to Kakarot for that. Yes, Kakarot does great videos on lores and stuff. He's the one to go to if you want to know about like facts about canon information about the suits and stuff. But not a big deal. You know, it's not something that is like a big issue that like I get hounded about all the time or anything like that. It's not a big thing. Just saying, some people comment about that on my videos from time to time, especially like on non-Gundam related stuff, because, you know, for the most part, a lot of Gundam related stuff, you know, I do have a pretty good grasp. But it'd be other stuff like if I'm reviewing a Macross kit or something like that, where it's just a property that I just don't really have much background knowledge of. That's where you really see the people getting very angry, terribly upset. A good example of one recently was the set of Metal Slug kits that I reviewed. Yeah, go check out the comment section on that video. It's just full of people butthurt about my lack of knowledge about Metal Slug. Sorry. D6 and 7. I said like right at the start of that video that I've never played the Metal Slug games, so like I don't know what you would expect to hear after that, after someone says I've never played the games but here's the models, and then would you expect me to then go on with the review knowing about them after I said right at the start that I don't know about them? I mean, yes, people were saying you could have done 5 minutes of research to know what you're talking about. Yes, I could have, but I could have also spent that 5 minutes, you know, doing something else that would be more productive of my time. Like playing Genshin Impact. That's what I do when I have 5 minutes to spare. I don't do research, come on. It's not a research channel, it's a model kit review channel. And this is an airing of grievances live stream, apparently. No. Again, it's not a big thing. It doesn't keep me up at night. Just something that people bring up from time to time. You know how it is. Fans of things can be upset when they're fans of things. So that's where you put the thinking guy meme, and with the text that says, so like you just need to be, just don't be a fan of anything. And that's how you can avoid getting upset when people don't know about the thing that you're a fan of. It grinds my gears. Yes, I need to do, yeah, considering like grinding gears, that's kind of like mecha related, for like a channel where we're doing all content related to mecha models. I could have a section, I could have like a series of what really grinds my gears videos. I mean, the name would totally fit, right? Have to maybe see if someone can like come up with a logo or something like that, sort of like that looks sort of like mecha or Gundam related, of like some gears working in a Gundam head or something like that, some kind of logo to come up with that. Then I can make some what grinds my gears Gundam like community related videos. Would that be fun? If you'd like to see that, then take the initiative and make a logo for me and send it to me, and then I'll make the videos. Just make like a Gundam head. It's like a outline of a Gundam head with like a couple of gears in it. That's all we need. And they would be entirely like not that serious videos. I mean, don't expect me to like. Again, don't expect any research or anything. Just expect a ridiculous rant about ridiculous topics. These little pieces. The thing that really grinds my gears about working on kits like this is that sometimes I'm like cleaning up the parts and, you know, like removing the nub marks, and I'm like doing all this little sanding on this tiny little part, and then I actually put the pieces together, and like this tiny little part that I've been working on is like completely hidden and not even like barely noticeable at all. Like, oh, I really didn't need to worry about doing that much cleanup on that tiny little part that's hardly visible at all. It does tend to happen from time to time on these kits I've found. Same thing, like it can happen with like Gundam kits as well too. Sometimes like if it's like an inner frame part or something that you spend a lot of time cleaning up, and then you get it all put together and realize it's like doesn't really even barely show at all. But that is a perfect example of why it's a good idea to build the kit before painting, because then normally you wouldn't really do a ton of sanding at that point. You would, at least for me, I don't really do a lot of sanding on stuff when I'm just doing like the initial build up. And then what I'll do is just kind of do just like basic nub removal, get the kit built out, and then I'll take it apart and do more sanding. Hey, what's going on, Mike? And so like then if you've already built up the kit and then when you take it apart to do more of the sanding on it, you then already know about which parts will really show or not, so you can know like, okay, this part I know ended up being like completely hidden, so I don't really need to worry about doing much sanding on that to get that part cleaned up. This is PC02C. So once again, we need to do some polycap surgery. As the polycaps look like that, but we actually only need the center part. So this is to cut off the sides. Okie dokie. My back. I need someone to come and give me one of those. Lift me up, like by my chest, pop my back. Right here. Is this all out of the box color? Yes, the kit is entirely molded in like a kind of dark gunmetal kind of color. Which, I mean, it's a fine color, but it's kind of totally meant to be painted, right? This one here, and polycap here. And this one here. How does this go together? Huh? Eh. Hey. Oh. Interesting. So this part goes in here and fits inside of here? Ah, okay. Basically, it's just there to make like a back of the polycap. That's kind of stupid. So that you have a hole on one side and no hole on the other side. Okay. And that's going to be covered up as well, too. So let's do a little bit more cleanup on our polycap here because it's not really fitting together super well. Maybe it's just the camera, but it looks pearlescent almost. I mean, it does have a metallic shine to it because, yeah, it's like I said, it's molded in like a gunmetal dark silver kind of color plastic. So yeah, you will see a bit of a shine to it. And without knowing for sure, without any like official confirmation of this, I am going to give a very educated guess in that it's molded in this particular color for when you're doing weathering and stuff on it. You can do some like chipping of the paint. You can do some actual paint chipping, chip it down to the bare plastic, and the bare plastic is in a kind of gunmetal-y color, so you can get that kind of metallic shine through your physical paint chipping on it, which is a technique that's pretty commonly used, I know, like among Maschinen Krieger. So Maschinen Krieger property, what do I want to say? Alright, so before I glue these, I just want to make sure that they're fitting together well, because they're still a little bit iffy. should be good now. Let's see. Well enough anyway. Needed that extra little bit of glue there. And here we go. Okay. The chipping aspect sounds really nice. I'm surprised Games Workshop doesn't do that. Yeah. I'd have to ask Lincoln to be sure. Maybe I'll shoot Lincoln a message. Maybe at some point during this week on a different live stream, I can see if Lincoln can join me to just kind of have a chat while I'm working on this, and he could give us some cool information about this, I'm sure. We can ask him, but yeah, I'm certain that the color that the kit is molded in is intentional for chipping the paint. Question: will you be waiting until the Clean vs. Weather reviews are finished to announce the next contest? Mike, yeah, probably. I mean, we have a couple of ideas for what the next contest is going to be, but yeah, it's not totally decided yet. So I mean, we'll have to decide what exactly the next contest is even going to be as well too. That's the other reason why we'll have to wait. But yeah, the next contest I would assume will be announced probably pretty soon. But yeah, we'll wait till we have the idea actually all squared away for that, and when we're going through some of the reviewing the entries and all that. So yeah, I'll let you guys know probably pretty soon on that. Got a couple of different ideas for what we want to do, and it's just a matter of deciding which one to go ahead with. Ha. Aha. Damn. No wonder this one was not fitting together really well, because there's a little bit of nub mark, a little bit of gate there that I didn't remove that was keeping this from pushing together tightly. Should have checked that better ahead of time. That's better. But while we're here, I can just kind of get the sense from you guys. But do you guys have any particular ideas or things you want to share about what you would like to do for the next contest? If there's any ideas that you guys want to share, let me know. I'm open to hearing what you guys think would be fun to do, because I mean, the contest is for you guys. So I know one thing a lot of people have mentioned over the years that they wanted to do like a gym contest, for example. I think the Chef Store, I think, was among the ones that you were calling for a gym contest, right? it you or was that Greg? Or both of you? Hey, there's Chris. What's going on, Chris? Chris, if you have any ideas for the next contest, feel free to share as well too. Purple themed contest. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a purple bonanza contest. There you go. Gyms for life. SD competition. SD would be interesting. The thing about SD is I just don't know how much interest there would be from a lot of people in wanting to do an SD competition. Because I know there's some people who like SDs, and I think there's some people who maybe don't normally build SDs but would just enjoy the challenge. But I think there's a lot of people who would just not be interested at all, unfortunately. But I know that doesn't mean that we can't do it. That doesn't mean that I won't do it just because some people wouldn't be interested. I mean, another contest that I've wanted to do for a long time is doing a Mecha Musume contest, but I just don't think that's another one where I think that there'll just be a lot of people who won't be interested in joining. RG competition? All RG? Could be good to like time that with the release of the Hainu. Damn, and why are these parts not wanting to fit together? I think it's because of the polycap. The old polycap getting in the way of a tight fit. Trying to see if I can figure out this on here. Hang on. Corey says Frame Arms Girl Contest. He's behind that idea. And I think just the polycap is just going to be popping this apart a little bit. Doesn't really seem to be too much else I can really do about this, I think. Aside from just cutting down the polycap more and more and more until there's not much polycap left. 80s, 90s kits, yeah. Old to gold, electric boogaloo, yeah, that's a good one, yeah. Thought about that as well too. 80s and 90s kits. Old kit theme. That could be good. Nothing could set the date like nothing past 1996 or something like that. I think the Master Grade line started in 97? 96? When did the first Master Grade come out? You could just set it like before that. Damn, this is annoying. Well, also, I think we're coming up on to where I need to stop the stream here pretty soon. But this is just really annoying now. I was having so much fun on this kit until we get to this where this little polycap is just keeping this from closing up all the way. Which is just a pain in the ass. 1995 for MGs. Oh, okay, so there you go. A little bit older than I thought. I'll throw some ideas your way in the private. Okay, thank you, Chris. 2 or 3 man HG squad theme. That could be interesting. People would need a good amount of time for that if we're requiring them to build like more than one kit. Although it is an interesting idea. We just need to make sure that people have enough ample time for that. But it'd be kind of a hard one to judge as well too. Requiring multiple kits. Car contest. Sorry, the Chefster. I just don't think that that's gonna happen. Sorry to say. Well, Polycap to be damned. This thing is just gonna glue, and I'm just gonna fill it with enough glue, and maybe I need to go get a clamp. Do you live near a local hobby shop? If that question is for me, then no, I don't. I think that question is not for me. One day I'll convert enough people to car kits. Yeah, I mean, I just... You know, I like building other non-Gundam stuff from time to time. You know, like this, for example, or like Mecha Musume kits, other different mecha kits and things like that. It's just... cars, I just don't have the interest there for it at all. I just don't think they would ever be something that would ever be interesting enough for me to want to try it. Let me just get the rest of these parts on here, maybe. From the B runner. 15, 16, 13, 13. Is there 3? 13 parts, we only need 2. Extra, just for good measure. It's all in B12. There's this little one here. That's all right. Oh, there's the other B13 and B9. Okay. So get the rest of these parts down here on the power unit, and then that's kind of basically it for the power unit. It doesn't really have a ton of parts here, so. I'd love to see a Gunpla and coffee themed build off someday. What would that even like be, Chris? I mean, I guess that's the key, is just to be creative with it. However you could make something that's Gundam and coffee themed, I suppose, right? So the challenge would be just to come up with some theme to your build that's somehow related to coffee. Interesting. Cars and Coffee is an organized car owner meetup where beautiful vehicles and their fabulously wealthy owners come together. Okay, I see. So you're talking about something related to that. Gunpla. Alright. Yes, fair enough. I got it. This one goes on this side. Here. Is there any particular order that we need to put these on? It doesn't look like it, so I think I can just go ahead and stick that on there. Oof. Just a little bit of a gap there at the bottom. Hopefully, I think that will end up not really being visible, so hopefully don't need to worry about filling that in, but we might have to do a little bit of putty filling on that gap on the bottom there, possibly. I think it probably should be okay though. Or is Ma.K in general? Can imagine someone trying that on machine Krieger kits. Yeah, the pitchforks of something like machine Krieger. I don't know. I guess it's something that I just kind of don't really worry too much about. There just seem to be a bit more like, compared to Gundam anyway. In the Maschinen Krieger fandom or community, I guess you could say, there does seem to be a bit more proclivity to, you know, sticking to the Maschinen Krieger look. Or I mean, you see people diverging from time to time, and I mean, I'm talking like even like Japanese modelers, but they'll do like something where just like instead of the typical Maschinen Krieger look, they'll just make it like really high gloss or something like that. Just like a super clean high gloss paint job or something. But and you might see something like from time to time that's like a for fun build, funny build, where it's like just something different. But yeah, it's not quite the same. But pitchforks, I mean, I don't know about that. I think you'd have a hard time being taken seriously by the serious Maschinen Krieger modelers, but you should see some of the 5-star stories model communities. Yeah, I can imagine that'd be in. I mean, 5-star stories is one that I'm sure I've not really seen much, like any sort of deviating from the look of how they're supposed to look. I've never seen. I mean, it's probably possible that at some point I've seen some sort of kit bash, but I wouldn't be able to tell. It's just a property I'm not familiar enough with that I'd be able to tell if something was a kit bash or not. But I'm sure people do like a little bit of like kit bashing maybe between some kits or something, but yeah, it still does have to fit that very specific look. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing when I was putting these pieces together. On the top they look fine, they're lined up, but on the bottom they're not lined up at all. But fortunately the bottom is going to be covered up, so well. Mascot themed, kind of like the 7-Eleven kits. I thought about doing that, yeah, where there, like, basically the theme would be like for it not to be like, for it to be, see, I don't even know how to word this, for there to be some sort of like not Gundam theme, but yeah, sort of like 7-Eleven themed, or like you could make it just kind of anything like Halloween themed, or like Kentucky Fried Chicken themed, or just something like that, you know, something along those lines, where you're making something, and it could be done in a serious way. I mean, you could make a 5-star stories themed Gundam, but a Gundam built based on a non-Gundam theme, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it can still, Chris, to answer your question, it could still be like a weapon of war or something like that. Like if you were to make it, you know, Macross themed or something, right? Yes, the Kublai Damned or the Kublai Embellier. Embellier? Right? Something? Anyway. Yes, those are, and the Hyakushiki Crash, those are already kind of 5-star stories themed. Right, but yeah. Something like that could be kind of cool. Where basically the point would be to try to make it, you know, having an interesting theme, and then also, of course, just the execution of the theme. So, I mean, you'd have to have a cool idea and then be able to pull it off to make it a really awesome looking kit based on your interesting theme. I think that could be cool. Superhero villain theme, yeah, it could be like that, like Spider-Man themed, or, you know, anything. G.I. Joe themed, Transformers themed. Just build it. I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but just build like a RX-78-2 and just don't change anything about it at all. Just leave it exactly how it is, and then just say that it's Transformers themed, just based on the whole like people who aren't familiar with Gundam calling them Transformers. Play on that whole meme. But don't do that, please. But I could totally see someone doing that. Ideon themed. Yes. Do you know any bugged themed kits? Wouldn't even have to be Gundam, but like Aura Battlers would actually be available for purchase. I mean, I don't know of like anything like that that's available. I know there's what's that kit? Waifu theme, sure. What's that kit? The R something. There's an old 1/44 scale non-grade kit of it from, I think, Gundam Victory, Argibor, something like that, right? It's quite bug themed. Is that Victory? Am I thinking of the right thing? I think so. Something like that. Yeah, I mean, there's, that new Turbine P Bandai kit that's coming out, HG. Yep, that's a good point. Little mecha rhino beetle. Yeah, what about you? There's that little guy, and then just a couple little pieces here left, and we'll be done with this section, kind of. Argibor is there. Yeah, that is Argibor. Or Abigor. Is that right? Was I saying it wrong? Could be. It's such a goofy design, not one that I've ever really been interested in, so I don't really paid too much attention to that. Who was that? Mulamba, was that you? Who was that had the kit that we were looking at on the recent Flamono trend? That came up on Twitter that we looked at that was based off of that kit. space versus ground would actually be a cool theme. Kind of, yeah. It was similar to the whole kind of. Yeah, that was yeah. Still want to see some updates on that as you're moving along with it. But yeah, could be kind of similar to the how we did clean versus weathered, how we had just kind of the two main categories. You could have just the space versus ground, and so like you have to, you know, sell the look of it. That could be something interesting to do too, like with like 30 minutes missions, if we had it like as a 30 minutes missions themed contest. So like everything had to be on like 30 minutes missions parts, and then we have it as two categories, space and ground. Well then, like for space and ground, what do you do about like flying mobile suits? So like not necessarily meant for space, so I guess they would just go into the ground category if they're just meant to just fly around in Earth's atmosphere. But it just could get kind of tricky. Yeah, of course, I mean like the weathering and equipment and all that stuff would be different, so I mean there would be certainly things that would differentiate the categories, but could be a lot of like gray area as well too. And I guess I mean the same thing could be said for clean versus weathered. I mean, I guess thinking about the finish that you're applying something to, like there in theory could be quite a good amount of gray area there as well too, between clean and weathered. Just how clean or how weathered it is. It's an interesting idea, yeah. I'll certainly take that into consideration, for sure. Let's see, so... Oh, really? Huh. So this bar just stuck right onto the side of there like that. This also seems like it's very much made with the intent to put some wires or something like that in between. It seems like getting that feeling like a lot with this kit, that there's different parts that just seem like it's really made to be kind of customized further with more wires and things and stuff going on. I think just like based off the design, it totally fits that it would have like lots of wires and stuff going everywhere, with it being just like kind of a reconnaissance drone kind of. What about just a 30 minutes missions contest? Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that as well too, Mike, and that's possible. Yeah. The only thing with that is that I just feel it's not quite as original, because I mean it's been done, but doesn't mean we can't do another one. Maybe some people didn't enter, and they never entered a 30 minutes missions contest before. I don't mean it's been done as in like it's been done once, but I'm sure it's been done, you know. here and there since those kits have been out. I'm sure other different people and different shops and stuff have gone about some 30 minutes missions related contests and things, but so I think I would want to have something a little bit more to kind of specify other than just 30 minutes missions. I want to have like some other kind of aspect of the theme. So like doing it space versus ground type or something like that within 30 minutes missions kits. Could be kind of cool. Or just clean versus weathered round 2 contest and 30 minutes missions kits only. Could do that. But speaking of round 2 contests, one contest that I would like to do a round 2 of would be the Maschinen tank contest. With the Kotobukiya kit coming out, the Kotobukiya Maschinen kit coming out, I think it would be a really great chance to do a 2.0 of that contest. Where normally I wouldn't really, I mean, that was kind of a joke before doing the clean versus weathered round 2. I don't think I would necessarily want to do that. I would want to do something new and different, not just do the same thing again. But for the Maschinen kits, I mean, I had a lot of fun with that contest. I think that was a fun one. That we saw a lot of really cool creative ideas, including yours, Mike, which I think, if I remember right correctly, like you just missed the deadline for that, right? You weren't able to finish in time, if I remember correctly, but you still had a cool build for that, so you could take another crack at that using the Kotobukiya kit. Would certainly be fun, right? Make sure everything's lined up this time. I missed the deadline. It's alright. It happens. What? There's something strange with this. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, there's some more wires I need to go into this. It says, there's a little note here that says to drill some holes into the bottom of this, and I'm just trying to think, like, why? Where are we going to add something more to that? That we are. So, I'll go ahead and do that later, right towards the end. Oh, and the holes are marked on here, so that's good. I thought I was just kind of going to be on my own, but there's a very slight little kind of marking there for where we need to put a couple more holes into this for adding some more wire later towards the end. So we'll go ahead and do that. Pop a couple of holes in there. So what this is going to be, hang on. So we'll have this piece on here. I was saying, this piece on there, and then this one, I guess here, for the this part. Plug it into there, and then wires will go from there into the, what is it? Support unit. I have to try to memorize the names of these parts that I keep forgetting. But yes, the support unit. So I think we need to drill some hole in there because that's supposed to house this part, but it doesn't really look like it's going to very well. Tricky. Well, that's all we can really do with that. Make room for that wire to go in there later. Oops. I think I'll have to get some putty or something to fill that little bit on there, if I'm too worried about that, but we'll see. So, let me see, just add this part on here, and we're gonna basically be done for today. So this part needs to connect onto the side. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure exactly where. There is a little thing there for that. Here we are. And I think that's probably going to be enough glue inhalation for today. I think we'll call it, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with some more work on that. But I'm very excited that the LED gimmick, LED that we're going to be adding in this is going to work out really well. I think that's going to be really cool. So I'll go ahead and do a little more just kind of sanding work and stuff in between, but like I said, I want to show you guys as much of the process as possible, so I'll just do some sanding and stuff in between, and then we'll just kind of work on some more of putting some stuff together and the construction and all that some more tomorrow. And we'll work on getting I'll try to get the LED into there so we can test it out to see how it's looking. We'll try to reach that point at least tomorrow in the construction, where we'll probably still have some stuff that'll be missing off it. It won't be completely all put together, but we'll get like at least the main parts together enough that we can see how the LED is going to be looking inside there. And I'll try to remember to bring some batteries from home for that as well too, so we can test that out. But that's gonna be it for today. But yes, so like I said, tomorrow I'll stream some more of building this tomorrow, as well as part 2 of the weathered contest feedback with Aaron and Mike will be on tomorrow. That'll be 10:30 a.m. my time, so it's 9:30 p.m. Like East Coast US, so wherever else you are in the world, so you can sort it out. But so yeah, we'll do that tomorrow, and then some more live building of this, so stick around for that. We're doing some more live feedback for the clean side of the contest on Friday morning for me, which is Thursday evening for you, those of you guys in the US. So yeah, we'll let you guys know more in detail about those. That I believe is also going to be once again on Chris's channel, so you can check that out there. Just got the main fuselage on the Stingray done, but lots of sanding. Yeah, I know on that kit. That's the one thing when I've talked about that kit with Lincoln before, yeah, he told me that it's massive seam sanding on that, but yep. Alright, fortunately not a whole lot of that on this kit. I mean, like, just you have a big seam around the kind of sensor unit on the head, and that's kind of about it. Little ones here and there everywhere, but relatively simple compared to some other kits in the line. So alright guys, thanks for hanging out for today. We'll pick it up tomorrow and look at some weather builds with Aaron and Mike. So we'll see you then. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a good day.